Rob, quickly before we get to the topic, I got 2 words for you. John Calipari.
What, losing to Oakland?
Rob, what is going on?
You know this is Oakland University that's in suburban Detroit, right?
Yes. The used to be Division II not that long ago.
Yes.
What is going on? Calipari is a great recruiter.
They're down, Chris, 6 and with 8.5 to go?
This is ridiculous. And I get it. This is what March Madness is about. They're upsets. I'm sorry. They're already talking, and Calipari always seems to be on the hot seat, right? Lately,
with all the talent that he's had, Chris, he's won one championship. Right. Anybody sitting there could win one championship with the caliber of players that he's had. For real. You can win it by accident.
Anthony Towns, Derrick Rose, John Wall. It's just, this, and I like, I covered Cal when he was the coach of the Nets. I like Cal. But this is ridiculous.
I can't wait to hear you guys rip them on First Things First tomorrow.
I think, if gun to my head, I think they're going to come back and win. But, hey, they're down 7 with 8 minutes left. Yeah, so we'll see.
There's plenty of time. I'm with you, though. Calipari, when you think about, his talent pool, Chris, it's like he's Jim Boeheim, too. 2.0.
Very similar.
Chris, Jim Boeheim with all the talent.
And Boeheim didn't have this type of talent.
No, he didn't. But Chris, he coached for 50 years and won one championship.
Right.
5-0.
Was very similar, as you said, because Calipari is going to go down as like a legend.
Right.
Even if he never wins another championship. He is a phenomenal recruiter.
Right. At one point, remember.
Game coach. Come on. It's just, he ain't getting it done.
It's crazy, and we talked about Tom Izzo hasn't won a championship, Chris, in 24 years. It's
but
unbelievable.
He hasn't had this talent either. Calipari's on a different level.
Yeah, no. The talent is so good, but I'm just saying some of these great coaches who don't win a lot. That's all I'm saying.
They win every year. They're good, but as far as championships, and that's kind of what you've talked about is the one and done, though. I got to give, it's tough in the one and done scenario, but the great ones get a few. They get a couple, right? They get more than a couple.
You got to get right.
Krzyzewski got 5?
I didn't even realize.
Robbie Knight, I think, had 3.
That Greg Kampe's still the coach at Oakland. When I worked there, Chris, Greg Kampe's been there for a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah. I've been here 8 years, in L.A. Greg Kampe's probably coached there for 30 years. He was coached there
when they were Division II.
Yeah, he's been there for a long time. I'll look it up. But Greg Kampe, I swear he's been a coach there for 25, 30 years. He's been there for a long time.
All right, well, let's get to football, Rob. And Deion Sanders talked about, do we have sound of it? Yeah, Deion talked about how he is, going to, NIL, Colorado doesn't have quite as much NIL money and funds to give out as the Alabamas and the Ohio States and the bigger schools, or the better programs, I should say. But Deion's got a plan for countering that. Here it is.
I've really pretty much done a personal survey. I really, truly, in all my heart, believe that parents don't want me at their house. They want to come see my house. They want to see how I live, how I get down. They want to see what I got going on, what God has done in my life. I know when I was in college, I did not want Bobby Bowden in my house because I knew after 7 o'clock it was going to be rats and roaches on parade. I have never heard one guy say, I chose this college because this coach came by my crib. Have you? I can't do the things other coaches can do. You know why? I'm Coach Bryant.
What you think, Rob?
Yeah, I don't know. I think when you go to recruit somebody, Chris, and you're asking them to take their 18-year-old kid to go move somewhere else and guide them and whatnot, I don't see that as an issue of someone coming into your home. That's the ultimate. You know that. You don't invite everyone into your home. But if someone's going to be a part of what you would consider your family and you entrust someone to take care of your kid when they go off to college, I don't look at that as a bad thing at all. I don't. To sit there, Chris, is kind of like when you get married, right? Or you ready to pop the question and you talk to your wife to be, your fiance, when you ask for the hand in marriage from the parent or the, you know what I mean, the father-in-law to be or the mother-in-law, you know, if the father's not there, whatever.
Right.
But you go speak to him. You go to the house and you want to have that conversation. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did. You
I
didn't do
didn't.
that? No.
My mother, my wife is her dad. Their parents were divorced when she was a little baby. But nah, I just popped the question. When I was ready.
But you know, people do
but
it.
I get it.
Yeah.
I expect it, and I think it's gonna happen.
I was gonna say
when
in
my
your
daughters, when
case,
they come to my house,
Chris, I'm telling you
they
right
come
here and
to
right
my
now
house.
that if there was something where they don't come meet you and Crystal.
Oh well, we know.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
In that moment, to say I want to marry your daughter, you know what I mean. To make that to
I'll
you,
say this.
I believe
My
they'll be at your
daughters-
house.
We know my daughters are both in serious relationships. We know the men well. If one of them, like, they went out on a special day and asked them to marry, I would not be upset. Know how close we know them. Like we know them. They've been dating for a while. But I still think they may come to me like that. But I'll say to Rob what I did, and this for all you fathers out there. When my girls were in high school, they started dating. Anytime they went to a date, like a prom or homecoming dance or something with a guy, or were starting to have, a little relationship, like over a little time, I met with the young man one-on-one. Like we would meet at a Starbucks or something like that. Just me and him, not my daughters, nowhere around. And I'm telling him, I expect my daughters have been raised a certain way. I expect them to be respected. I don't want them being pressured into doing anything they don't want to do, all of that stuff. And I think that's good. Like, because I thought about, like, if a father had done that with me when I was dating young girls, it would have made an impact. I mean, boys gonna be boys, you got hormones, but it would have made an impact on me. And so that's young fathers out there still do that. And
let me say this. Let me say this before you get to the other point. Greg Campy's been there, Chris, 40 years since 1984.
Hey,
Unbelievable.
they might have been
years.
Division III.
Yeah,
when
might
he
have started 40 years, coach. I couldn't believe it when I looked it up.
He doesn't look that old.
No,
but
he's 68. So he was 28 when he started.
28.
40 years.
He's done a good job. To Deion's point, though, I'm friends with. We're both friends with a lot of ex-players and stuff. Lawrence Funderburk, you remember, great player in college and high school in particular, played 8 years in the NBA. He told me, he was from a poor housing project in Columbus, Ohio. And, he was the third-ranked player in the nation in high school. And he's told me when he was being recruited, he never had a coach come to his house because he was embarrassed about the state of his house, the poverty.
I understand. Okay.
So I get that. I mean, if you if you got a nice house, maybe your family's middle class, whatever, that's different. But I think that's what Deion's getting at. I mean, he kind of said it himself with the, roaches and rats and all that stuff.
I'm hoping
so
there's no roaches and hoping there's no rats.
Right. I think that there are some people that, they already look up to Deion, but they aspire to have the type of things he has. And so I do, look, some people might be turned off by it, some parents, but I do think a lot of people, and Deion, I think he's well respected, and I think it could be effective for him. It's not going to get everybody.
And the other thing is everyone's not going to have
a problem with him doing it that way.
Yeah, everyone's not going to be Deion and make money like that and make the league. You know what I mean? So I just think there's a connection kind of thing, Chris, if you don't really, when you're making a visit to the parents and you might have seen him, scouted him, talk to his coaches, and this is like a formal thing where you say, hey, I want your kid to come to school at whatever school, Colorado, and this, that, and the other thing, and I want you to know what kind of guy I am, and aside from what you see on television or you hear on sound bites, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a certain degree of that.
So, like, I mean, if I was a senior in high school and I'm being recruited by various schools, and Deion Sanders invites me and my parents out to his house, pays for it and all that, to, I don't know what the rules are regarding that, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't either.
Right. To go out to his house and and then he makes a pitch, and he's obviously gonna talk about, he'll talk about more than sports. You know that, right? He is interested in developing young men and all that character. But I think it would be impressive. Again, it's not, every not gonna get all the recruits, but I do think something like that would be impressive. I think a lot of people would look at it as, wow, he invited me to his house. Like you said, kind of somebody coming into your house, there's also kind of a respect when somebody invites you to their house.
There is. Like if people, and you know this, like if you never go to their house, it's kind of like a feeling like why can't you come to my crib? You know what I mean? Like if someone were to turn,
right.
Do you know what I mean? Like a disrespect,
right? Like you never invite me to your house.
Exactly.
So
what is that about? Yeah,
right.
I mean, because that's the most intimate thing, Chris. When you let somebody into your house, that's when you're on a different level. Would you agree with that? Right?
Yes, I would, and that's why I think it's a good thing he's doing. And I think I don't know. Some kids, Rob, is going to be who's giving me the most money. Others, this will impress them, and it might get him some of these kids. We've already seen that, even when he was at Jackson State, the HBCU, he was getting some of the top players. So